I did it. I cleaned my room. Are you happy now? Are you? So in my last video, I showed you guys my progress of drawing for 30 days as a complete beginner, and I think it went quite well. Not only just my progress, but the video itself actually did quite well, so thanks a lot for that. And if you were waiting for part 2, don't. It's not coming. I'm just kidding. It is coming. It's just gonna take a little while because it's gonna be another one of those drawing for 30 days type of video, so it's gonna take a while. But in the meantime, I didn't really want to stop uploading completely, just because it is gonna take a while. So here I am. And the plan for this video was just to draw without reference, because I noticed that that's something that I didn't really do, or I guess showed on my last video, because I definitely did draw without reference. I just don't think I showed it at all. So that's what I wanted to do in this video. And then as an added bonus, I also wanted to draw on camera, just because that's another thing I wanted to do in last video. But because by the time I started recording, I had already finished the 30 days, I didn't really know how to like incorporate it into the video. So I saved it for this one. You're welcome. So yeah, should be fun. Anyway, without further ado, let's get drawing. Alright, so here we are, and just to start off, I kind of wanted to warm up a little bit because lately I haven't really been drawing faces. I've been drawing bodies. I guess the part 2 to me learning to draw is going to be about learning how to draw bodies, so I've been drawing that a lot more than faces, so I feel like I need to practice. So I'm going to draw with the reference now, and then I'll come back and draw without reference. I guess I'm going to go ahead and get started. So while I show myself drawing, I just wanted to talk about a few things because my original idea for this video was to kind of explain my process as I was doing the drawing, but I very quickly came to realize while editing this video that that was just gonna take a really long time because it took me like an hour to finish this drawing, and it's a pretty simple one, so I don't know if it should have taken me that long. But because I was explaining my process, it just took me way too long and it was gonna make a pretty long video. So I decided to do a voiceover instead, and that gives me the chance to talk about some things that I actually wanted to talk about that I didn't. And one of those things was about some piece of advice that I got on my last video, which was to draw bigger. And I know that might seem like a pretty simple advice, but if you think about it, it makes sense. If you're drawing bigger, then that means that there's a lot more room for you to make mistakes. And as a beginner, I think that's exactly what you need to do. You gotta make mistakes, that way you know which areas you gotta improve upon. Write that down, write that down! So I grabbed the bigger sketchbook that I had laying around, and that's where I decided to do these 2 sketches because I wanted to see if it would be any different drawing bigger. And it was. I mean, it was definitely a challenge. I definitely had to adjust a little bit to drawing bigger than I usually do, and it definitely did highlight some areas where I was having trouble. I think I remember specifically having trouble drawing the eyes with this drawing, but I mean, what's new? I'm okay. But anyways, so now I know that I should work on drawing eyes because I was genuinely struggling drawing the eyes. I think I erased them a couple times. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is kind of just the topic for my next video, which I'm kind of excited about because it's gonna be about me trying digital art. I actually already bought one of those like very simple like pen tablets to just give it a try. I actually ended up buying it a couple weeks into me just drawing for the first time, and I gave it a try, but at that point I just didn't really know exactly what I was doing, even just in traditional art. So maybe now that I have a little bit better understanding of what the fuck I'm doing, maybe I'll have an easier time or just a better time in general. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that because I don't know, I feel like doing digital art is just so much more convenient. I wouldn't say easier, just convenient. So stick around in the channel if you want to see me give that a try. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about before we move on to the next part of the video, which is me actually drawing without reference for all this time, and that is to just thank you guys for the support that I received on my last video. I really was not expecting it to do that well. I was fully expecting it to like just fly under the radar and then just kind of go unnoticed, just kind of how it happened with the first few videos that I uploaded to this channel. But I do think I put a lot more effort into my last video than I did those first couple of videos, which are also completely different in nature, so maybe that's why. So it looks like I'm about done with the drawing. At this point, I think I'm just adding like the small details, like all the shading and shit. But overall, I don't think it came out too bad. Well, this is now looking at it after a couple days has passed, because when I was actually doing the drawing, and especially after I finished it, it was just not looking right at all. I don't know what it was. Maybe I had been working on it for too long, but now coming back with fresh eyes, I gotta say it doesn't look that bad, especially after not having drawn faces in a couple days, because at this point I was only drawing bodies because that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. So for not having drawn faces in a while, that's not that bad. But of course, this is with reference, so let's just move on to the other one to see how I did. guess it's not that bad. I could have spent a lot more time on the hair. I'm just trying to get this over with so I can actually move on to the one with reference. All right, so let's get started and let's see how it goes. Pray for me. Okay, so here I am, and I don't know if you can notice, but my nail polish is kind of worn at this point, but it's actually been a couple days since I recorded that last footage, and that's because it wasn't until I started editing the video that I realized that the second part, which was me actually drawing without reference, got corrupted. I tried to look around to see if I could fix it, but I just couldn't find anything. I think I had to do something with like the file extension or the format of the video or something like that. I don't know. I don't really know that much about that stuff. So yeah, that means I have to re-record this part of the video, which kind of makes the last part that I showed, which was me doing a warm-up, kind of irrelevant because, well, it's a completely different day today. But I think I might still leave it in the video just because, I don't know. And it's a shame because though I didn't like the drawing that I did originally without reference, I guess I can show it. Here it is. As you can see, it's not that great. But though I didn't like how it came out, I think it showed a couple of areas where I need to work on stuff. I think specifically everywhere. Fuck. Now that I'm looking at it, I do not like it. So I guess maybe it's a good thing that I have to redo this because I don't know. This came out, yeah, you don't want to see that. So before this video takes me any longer than it already has, I guess I'll just get started. So for this drawing, I also wanted to show my progress just like I wanted with the last one, but just like with the last one, I noticed that it was gonna take way too long, and this video has already taken me long enough. So I'm just gonna speed it up and talk over it again, but I'm still gonna try to explain my process. So when starting a drawing, I usually like to start with the overall shape, but I found that this time around, when I tried to do that, it just wasn't really working. So I thought maybe mapping out the features real quick would make it easier for me to get it right. So I decided to start with the nose, and whenever I'm drawing noses, I usually like to start by putting a circle right where the tip of the nose would be, and that just kind of helps me better visualize the planes of the nose. And that I actually got from watching this YouTuber called Chomang. I don't know if I said that right, but I'll put their channel up in the screen so you guys can see who I'm talking about. He does that thing where he draws a circle for the tip of the nose, and I kind of just picked that up because I don't know, that it does kind of help. And then after doing the nose, I moved on to trying to do the hair. And then for the hair, I just kind of did a very simple hair down style because I didn't want to complicate myself. And then after I added the hair, I found that it helped me place the jawline, which was kind of not necessary because I found that I actually drew over the original jawline that I had at the beginning, but then I erased. So then after I finished drawing the hair and the jawline, I moved on to giving a little bit more detail to the nose just to kind of help it look more 3D. And it also helps me place the mouth because I like to kind of draw the little, like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like the bridge between the lips and the nose. It's like those two little lines, and I found that drawing those two little lines helps me place the lips. That way I don't place them too high or too low on the face. And then after I did that, I moved on to the eyes. And then for the eyes, I actually like to do something new that I wasn't doing before, which was to place the eyeballs and then put the eyelids over the eyeballs. And I just find that helps me a lot when placing the eyes. Before, I was pretty much just guessing where the eyelids should go, whereas if I actually give it some eyeballs, I can kind of just wrap the eyelids around the eyeballs. So it really does help to draw the eyeball. And then at this point, as you can see, I'm just kind of fixing some stuff that I saw was wrong with the drawing, which is kind of a shame because I feel like I kind of messed up the jawline and I accidentally made it a little bit too short. And then that kind of caused me to change the hair a little bit, which also in my opinion wasn't looking that bad. So overall, I think that some of the changes that I did to the jawline and the size of the head probably could have gone without, but oh well. And then after that, I just decided to finish off the drawing with some shading, just very simple shading, to be honest. Shading is something that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, so I gave it quite literally the simplest type of shading that I could have thought of, because so far what I've been doing is just literally copying the lighting as it is in whatever reference I'm using. So I feel like I don't have that understanding of how, I guess, light works and just shading in general works. So I guess that's something that I should probably also focus on if I want to get better. And that's pretty much the end of the drawing. As you can see, it's looking a lot better than the original drawing that I did. And I think that's because I kind of saw the errors that I made with my original one and I made sure to correct them. Like for the eyes, I noticed that I was actually actually struggling quite a bit with the eyes. That's why I started doing the eyeball thing. That's also why I started doing the nose thing, because it helps me visualize the nose in 3D a lot better. So I think that kind of just reinforces that one point that I made earlier, which is that you really just got to make mistakes in order to get better. And this is a clear example of that. I mean, as you can see here side by side, the difference is quite crazy. And that's because on the first drawing, I learned what I was doing wrong, and I used what I learned to make my second drawing even better. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I did not think this video was going to take me as long as it did to make, because at first I wanted to make the video a certain way, but then a little bit into editing, I realized that it was just not going to be entertaining. And so I just had to completely discard everything that I had already edited and start over pretty much. And then once I started over, I realized that the footage got corrupted. So that kind of delayed the process even more. And to be honest, that kind of demotivated me to work on this video. So I did take a little break, but now the video is over. It's done. I did it. I finished it, finally. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I don't know, whatever the YouTubers tell you to do nowadays. I promise my next video is not going to take as long as this one did. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I guess I will see you in the next video.